excuse me, but when you look at Stormy Daniels, I know Donald Trump, and
let's respect him.
Look at his 3 wives, right? Beautiful women, classy women, women of great substance. Stormy Daniels? Yes, I respect all human beings. I even have to respect, criminals. But I'm sorry, I don't respect a porn star the way I respect a career woman or a woman of substance.
That was Rudy Giuliani saying what's been obvious to pretty much every living person for a couple of thousand years, that someone is more deserving of respect if they don't have sex with strangers on camera for money. But this is 2018, and we don't live in a normal America, but a liberal carnival version of it instead. A version in which pornography isn't degrading, it's dignifying and empowering to women, just like Haiti is a beautiful country with functioning sanitation, and MS-13 gang members are great people. Well, today the press scrambled to praise Stormy Daniels' illustrious career.
You just heard Rudy Giuliani's reaction, which in a sense is porn stars aren't people too.
We've always had women who worked and worked on the streets. A lot of them have put their kids through college.
She is probably one of the most successful porn stars in recent history. A lot of people have just looked at her, honestly. And, you can question her career choices, but I think she's made a successful career for herself.
She's a mother, and she's a woman with a voice, and she's going to use it.
These people are they're literally beyond parody. Author and columnist Mark Stein joins us. Mark, I should just say that I'm actually by temperament pretty non-judgmental. I'm not mad at Stormy Daniels or anything, but I can't help but notice, the impulse on the left is always to elevate and celebrate anything that is repulsive, degrading, bad for you, anything that is low and ugly, they deify. What is that about?
Yeah, I think there's an element of, I would say I thought originally it was confusion, but I think it's actually intentional. Because on the one hand, you have Miss America saying we're not going to have a swimsuit round anymore because that's demeaning of women. So that you can't have a swimsuit round, but if you take off your swimsuit and you have sex with 37 different guys on screen in one motion picture, then people will hail you. I want to make sure I get the correct quote here. Quote, one of the most successful porn stars ever. That's a really great thing to be. I mean, the porn is rubbish. The plot's rubbish. The dialogue's rubbish. It's
Whoa. And look, in the interest of journalism, I'm sorry, before you go, we actually checked her oeuvre. Okay. Her films on IMDb, and here are some of them, and you may not be familiar because maybe you're not as cultured as some of us. Sex Bots, Program for Pleasure, Trailer Trash Nurses. I mean, these are the ones we can sort of read on TV. Yeah. I mean, are you speaking before you've really looked in to what she's done?
Well, actually, my Obamacare plan only covers me for trailer trash nurses. I went to the doctor the other day and I had to have the trailer trash nurse practitioner, so that didn't really work out for me. What was the other one? Sex Bots? Sex Bots program.
I'm too embarrassed.
Sex Bots program for pleasure. I think actually, I do believe that Robert Mueller has indicted 13 Russian sex bots program for pleasure as part of the Mueller probe. So I'd be interested to see whether they turn up in court. But look, it's a
probe indeed.
There is a confusion here, and I think it goes back to what you said in the introduction, that a lady in a swimsuit parading around as Miss New Hampshire or Miss Idaho, because that's a fairly harmless pleasure, we have to get rid of it. But on the other hand, if you have something that is utterly degrading and is actually, as I said, objectively worthless, it's an art form whose only value is what it stimulates in the viewer. It has no intrinsic value of itself. And suddenly that's something to celebrate. I heard, by the way, last night, I was just about to turn into bed, and I heard Shannon Bream, I nearly fell off my chair. Shannon said that down in New Zealand, the Queen had just given a damehood to a former prostitute, and I was so shocked I looked it up before I went to bed, and she'd been made a Dame Commander of Her Majesty's Most Excellent Order of New Zealand Order of Merit for services on to the rights of sex workers. So we are doing something here where we are taking the most low and degrading kind of work a woman can do and somehow pretending that it's empowering of women. And whether that's Stormy Daniels or this new dame down in New Zealand, that is not the case. It's an industry that exploits and degrades women. And in that sense, you should be able to say what Rudy said, because it's self-evident.
And you shouldn't be forced to lie. And that's what they want you to do. They want you to lie because it's a way of establishing dominance over you. I'm going to make you lie. And if you don't, I'll crush you. That's what they're really saying.
Right.
Mark Stein, very deep and smart, as always. Thank you. Living
Thanks
the lie.
a lot, Tucker.
Amen. See ya.